Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another match of the MALT quarterfinals. This is another potentially very exciting match between Silhoueska Elze and Delta386. Once again, I am Rhymes with Mash, and I am joined by none other than the amazing Sparky. How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Still trying to catch my breath from the previous match. It feels like there was a lot of energy being expended on all fronts, and it is starting to get pretty late on in the evening here. And hopefully, this one delivers just as much adrenaline pumping action as we saw in the earlier fixture. As you mentioned before, it is going to be Silhoueska Elze going against Delta386. And this is our 3 seed versus our 6 seed in the winner's bracket. So not as much on the line for these two, but you definitely want to keep that winner's bracket run alive for as long as humanly possible, because there are some very, very good players down in that loser's bracket now.
Yeah, and speaking of very good players, Elze is just showing off right now. Come on.
they are known far and wide as one of the best LN players in 4 key, and when they discovered that they could do it in 7 key, oh dear lord, it was over for everybody.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that there's only like maybe 2 or 3 people in this entire tournament that can even S rank this chart, and here she is with a 97.
Yeah.
So there's the game plan for her. It's pretty clear that she's gonna go for the LN picks, and here we are. I'm assuming Delta's warm-up Starlights. I believe this is over the warm-up time limit, but
they are putting double time.
Oh, great.
Yeah, what better way to solve that issue than let's just make it faster.
Starlight's DT as a warm-up. What a move.
Yeah, I mean, to Delta's credit, they are a very proficient accuracy player, at least on the lower end of things. And if they can show off that they have some mid to late game physicality, they might be able to match up against Silhoueska Elze, at least on the Rice charts. Because I imagine Silhoueska Elze is going to want to opt to stay with the lower half of the pool. So this could very well develop into the loved Rice versus LN dichotomy that we always enjoy seeing.
Absolutely. That's what tiebreakers are made of, you know?
Exactly. What is the tiebreaker other than a very long hybrid chart?
Something like that.
Something like that. I never get to tiebreaker. I usually just lose outright. Actually, no, I don't even qualify sometimes, but that's not for here or there. We're currently in the second warm-up for these two players, and I believe, I don't know what the matchup would be for the winner of this match. I think we can probably pull up the bracket when all is said and done here, but that is going to be another interesting match to watch out for next weekend.
Yeah, it looks like the winner of this will be going against either Nanon Van Dusty or Charlie's Mad Cut. Both really scary players. I feel like a lot of people are expecting the showdown of Elze versus Van Dusty. That will be very interesting to watch given their skill sets. But who knows? Who knows who will make it through?
Yeah, for sure. You never want to write off players before they have actually played their match, because you don't know what they could be brewing up in their practice, and before too long, if you take them for granted, they can really pull off some pretty astonishing upsets.
Yeah.
I think the term would be don't sleep on them.
Yeah. It's man, this warm-up. What a,
I mean,
what a map.
It's definitely the warm-up of time. I'm noticing a very distinct lack of outer columns and space bars.
Yeah, kind of curious.
No, you know what it is? It's not a 7-key chart. It is a 4-key plus 3 chart.
4-key plus 3, but the 3 are dubiously missing.
They were ejected very early on. They did not pass the vibe check, so they have been eliminated from this chart.
I was wondering what the question mark was in the difficulty name.
Oh, I feel like I remember this chart now. I think this was used in a very silly Underjoy tournament.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
That shall not be named because the official event is going on right as we speak. That it shouldn't share the same limelight as that. Speaking of, I'm gonna actually check what the score is on that match because I have a vested interest in how that is going.
That's
Oh, it doesn't start until later on.
Oh, okay.
I thought it
watch
started.
that later, everybody.
Yes, the grand finals of the World Cup will be soon, and you definitely don't want to miss it because that is going to be a run back for South Korea against the United States.
Yeah, but enough about 4-key.
Yeah.
Both out of the World Cup and this chart. We're here to see some 7-key action. Yeah. I don't want to try and determine anything out of this warm-up, but I don't really think it counts as 7-key.
Yeah, it's definitely the 7-key warm-up of all time. And we get the rolls out of the way here. It looks like Delta actually winning the roll here. 41 is indeed higher than 18. So Emily going to ban first, and it's going to be Rice 2 removed from this pool.
I think that makes sense. That's kind of interesting. Kind of because something I've noticed is that as my LN coordination goes up, my bracket ability gets a little better. So I'm a little bit surprised that Elze would ban the bracket map. But hey, if it works, it works. And we're seeing Delta ban LN4, which is absolutely the right move. Yes. Either that or LN2. Either one is perfectly fine.
Silhoueska was responding with a number of angry faces. She did not appreciate that one bit.
Yeah.
The one time I'm pretty sure players wish there was protects in this match or in this tournament, but I think it works better that we just have the straight up bans. But with that out of the way, it is going to be Delta to pick first here.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know that much about what they might pick. I think maybe Rice 5 or 6 might be good for them, or maybe Rice 3, because like you said, they are strong on the accuracy front. It's just really a matter of not choking on that map.
Yeah, I mean, they could also go like the bog standard route and go for something like Rice 1, or if they really want to get spicy with a Rice 3.
That is true. I'm not sure who has the physicality advantage here, but they are going with Rice 6. Nice prediction. Rhymes with MASH.
Yes. You can Photoshop yourself handing yourself a medal for that prediction. I look forward to seeing it in our Discord later on today. That is your homework assignment.
Absolutely. I'll be on it.
Thankfully, Silhoueska Elze on the ball here, asking our referee to remove double time because that would be very goofy.
Yeah.
Speedrun time. But we are going to get into this first map of this best of 11. First player to 6 points will be moving on to the winners semifinals. Loser not out of it just yet, but we'll have to make the rest of the run in this tournament in the losers bracket.
This pick is pretty long. I feel like some people might want to play it with DT just to save some time, but we've got a lot of time to sit back and watch these players play this pretty straightforward map.
Yeah, we're going to get this underway. I imagine the bar for these two players is basically miss or die.
Yeah, we're looking at these accuracies. Oh, Elze with a pretty big loss there, and Delta follows right after, but still holding their FCs.
Yeah, just a big string of 200s on one of those final runs, but gonna get canceled out here. Delta taking a little bit more damage when all was said and done through that introduction. And it is gonna give Emily a bit of a cushion to work with here to the tune of about 0.3%, but this is the finest of margins to work with. It can flip in an instant with just a couple of misplaced 200s here.
Oh,
I always
so
get scared. I get so scared when players ghost tap.
I'm very guilty of that. I've more than a couple times tried ghost tapping and ended up hitting early.
And still we continue on. Delta doing really good to close up this accuracy discrepancy. It was about 0.1%, grows to about 0.2 now, but still staying hot on the tail of Silhoueska Elze. As we make our way into the second third of the chart now, she is in that 99.5 range. Delta not too far behind, 99.3 for them. And still applying pressure here as she holds on to about 3,000 points of a lead.
Yeah, Elze is looking pretty infallible here, but Delta, oh, with the miss! Right as I was about to say they were holding strong as well, they dropped, but their accuracy is doing pretty well regardless as we get into this brackety section. Look at that. Oh, and Emily misses!
So trades it back here. Delta not above that 400 combo cap, so not going to be able to take full advantage of that traded miss, but there's still quite a bit of a cushion for Silhoueska Elze to work with, and those were two very clean drops on both sides as Delta finds a pretty peculiar one. I think that spacebar giving it a little bit of an issue as they work their way through this section, and last of the chart still have to go all to play for, but Delta with an extra miss for the road, transitioning on into the next section. Emily going to be able to take that and ride it with it to the tune of about 15,000 points as we make our way into the last quarter of the chart now.
Yeah, some of these brackety sections are scaring me. Some of the bursts in the last quarter of this chart are pretty scary after such a long, simple map.
Oh, but that was so clean from both of the players, able to handle one of the hardest bursts in this chart with relative ease, maybe taking a couple 300s for the road with them, but very importantly, holding on to their combos to set up a bit of a grandstand finish here. It is still about a sliver of chart left to go here. It's still that 0.3 margin we've been talking about throughout the majority of this chart, but the extra couple of misses that Delta picked up in that middle section coming back to haunt them here as Silhoueska Elze is looking to close this out cleanly and take the first break point in this match to make it 1-0 before too long.
Yeah, that is pretty significant. Breakpoint off rip. Oh, with a miss at the very last second. But hey, that buffer that she had paid off.
Oh, and those ratios are so close.
Oh,
a couple of 200s between them being the major discrepancy, and those couple of hundreds, I feel like Delta not having the cleanest of drops late on, maybe just trying to hang on to what they could and not able to salvage it in the end. And so Silhoueska is going to pick her first map of this match. It is going to be Mock Space Journey coming out here. So Rice won right off the rip here.
That's really interesting. I don't know if she had planned to pick this from the start or if winning this Rice pick kind of inspired some confidence to go with Rice 1. But it's certainly an interesting pick, given I feel like she could very easily win these LN picks.
Yeah, I think this one feels more like that breakpoint pivot, where it's like, under normal circumstances, you wouldn't go into this voluntarily, but with the confidence of that breakpoint in the back pocket, the worst thing you can do is make this from a best of 11 to a best of 9.
Yeah. I guess with that breakpoint in your back pocket, you can afford to. And here we go. A speedy little pick.
And as we make our way through this introduction, it is basically the similar start to the earlier Rice pick. These two starting off very strong in this high 99% range. Is just separated by those couple of tenths of a percent, and it is again going to be a similar story where it's whoever blinks first finds that miss could very well potentially be on the losing side of this map as we continue on further into the second third now. That accuracy discrepancy has actually widened up a little bit. Delta taking a little bit of damage, finding a number of 100s and 200s as they continue to try and traipse along and eventually finding the combo break on the transition into the back half of the chart now. And Silhoueska is building up their score lead to about 18,000 points. Going to be able to climb up even further as we move further along.
Something that's really impressing me right now is look at Elze's ratio on some of the stairs and look at how just clean everything is. That's really the difference between a good player and a great player. To have the control on such fundamental patterns to just ratio it all with the sweep of a hand, it's really impressive.
Yeah, for sure, because it's so easy as you move along into harder and harder difficulties to just kind of autopilot your way through some of these staircase rolls and kind of just let your hands fly across the keyboard with no regard for your accuracy. So being able to keep it really tight, sure, picking up a couple 300s here and there, maybe the occasional 200 as well, and Silhoueska is going to pull off a very clean run here. 3 200s.
989, 900? Almost 990? What?
That is definitely a run for them. Delta not too far behind, 959, very competitive against a majority of the field, and that is a 30,000 point PB for Emily. And she needed that because subtract 30k from that score, and that is a 600 point win, basically.
Talk about performing under pressure.
Oh,
wow.
For sure. She is no stranger to high pressure situations, and it is coming to the forefront here, successfully able to take that break point and make it 2-0. Delta up to pick next, and it is going to be Rice 3. We are going into Korchak.
Hoping they can beat her on ratio and the ability to not choke. I don't know, if I'm Delta right now, I would be sweating, because Emily has just proven that she can win on Rice, and I definitely wouldn't want to go against her on long notes. So things aren't looking fantastic.
Yeah, but you gotta stick with what you know. You live by the sword, you die by the sword in certain situations. Delta relying on what has gotten them a majority of their success so far in this tournament. Seeing if they could maybe reverse the fortunes here, pull off a very clean performance as Emily finds a very early drop here.
Interesting. Yeah, this is bound to be a really fascinating pick, and that might have just finished the match right there. If Delta can keep their FC, they might just have won in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's just how the Korchak picks have gone so far this tournament. Everybody's so comfortable, so capable of pulling off some very high accuracy plays that it definitely does become a game of cat and mouse with the miscounts. And like you're saying, those two misses could just basically spell the end of it if Delta is able to keep it clean for the majority of this chart. 99.5 for Silhoueska is on the road to recovery here. And as she starts to climb up, it's going to start chipping away at this lead ever so slightly, because all Delta can do is go down from that 99.9% perch. But if they can keep it there, it is going to be virtually impossible for Silhoueska to make a comeback here.
Yeah, the really funny thing about this map is that it's like either dense or like jacky. It's one or the other. Like the denser parts are less jacky and more kind of I don't know, brackety or chord streamy, but the lighter parts are more focused on your actual physical jacking ability, and they have some of the more long jacky sections that are easy to choke on. So it's kind of a fascinating pick.
Yeah, for sure. It gives you a little bit of everything. It keeps you on your toes, because I think some players rely on certain structures to get by on picks like this. So the fact that it is varied and Silhoueska is finding another drop here, they were making a relentless charge, getting up into that 99.7 range, a very clean drop overall, but all this time spent under that 400 combo cap is just free score for Delta to extend their lead here, and it is now about 11,000 points in their favor as they hold on to their FC. Is still a third of the chart left to go here, and they're still holding strong, 99.86 for them.
Yeah, look at the UR bars here. They're both super, super tight. But Delta is keeping that accuracy advantage. I'm not sure if It's just off the misses, or if they would have the AC advantage regardless, but they're definitely in a favorable position now.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what the 300 counts are at the end of this chart to see if Silhoueska Elze would have had a outside chance of sneaking this pick out from under Delta's feet. There's still a quarter of the chart left to go. Anything can still change. A singular drop could throw this whole equation into complete disarray if it's not a very clean drop on the side of Delta, but they have been looking very consistent on this chart so far. 8th left to go. Still holding on to their FC, and they still have a 12,000 point cushion to work with here.
Yeah, and Elze's drops were within the first 400 combos, so if Delta were to miss at the very end here, they would suffer more than Elze. But it's not really looking like it's going to happen.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to keep this clean till the end. Even if they were to find a drop, it wouldn't be enough to change the outcome here. And as we close this one out, Delta is going to put their first point on the board, make it 2-1 now. 995k to 200.
Oh my gosh. Elze's ratio.
Jesus Christ. But at the end of the day, it was what we were saying at the start, those misses. It was over inside the first 30 seconds on that chart just because of those misses.
Yeah, that's the perfect kind of map to kind of Hail Mary on, you know?
Yeah, and sometimes you catch that ball.
Yeah, it sometimes will pay off, but we're seeing Elze go with Hybrid 3. Like I said last match, this is a really demanding chart. It produced the lowest scores of the last match, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens again. Some of the LN coordination in this is really, really difficult. And here we go.
See.
It does make sense that Elze would pick this, understanding her skill set, and I think she does have the physicality advantage here, which is kind of important in this pick.
Yeah, for sure. It does get pretty dense to read through, and some of these patterns do get a little technical as Delta finds the first break between the two players. Both of them taking a little bit of damage in terms of their accuracy. So Elze does finally find a drop in return, but still able to keep their head above that 99% mark. Not before too long, finding another drop here, but still holding on to the lead for the moment. Delta dropping down into that low 98% range is going to make it hard for them to make this recovery run here.
Yeah, Elze holding on to that 99. Hovering around that area.
Yeah, I feel like if they can keep themselves in that range, it's really going to make it hard for Delta to make any sort of scratch in this lead that she has built up. As they find another drop here, going to start to recover before too long, but there's only so many misses you can get away with before it becomes insurmountable task. And with half the chart still left to go, it is about 20,000 points in Silhoueska Elze's favor, to the tune of about a full percent in terms of accuracy advantage as well. The transition not treating Delta too well, finding another couple of drops here.
Yeah, and given that the end of this chart kind of cranks things into overdrive, it could give Delta some points back, but I think it's just going to help Elze even more. We'll have to see in this last chorus, in the last eighth.
Yeah, but right now I think we're quickly approaching the realm of uncatchable. 40,000 points now in favor of Silhoueska Elze as they start trading back and forth. Some of these misses, these trades only help out Silhoueska Elze in this regard, as Delta picks up another one for the road. And as this chart comes to an end, she is going to be able to take this pick to make it 3-1 now.
Yeah, a dirty ending for both players, but didn't really change the outcome in any way. Delta is down by 1 breakpoint. It is their turn to pick.
Yeah, they still have a couple of rice picks to go into. 4 and 5 are still left on the table for them to go into, but they're going to run out of rice picks before too long. And with none of the LNs being chosen so far, there is plenty of avenues for Silhoueska Elze to approach the rest of this match, and it's going to be Hybrid 1.
I think this is actually a good pick. I like this pick. I think Elze is succeeding on the reading advantage here. And Life is Piano is simple. It's ergonomic. So I think Delta actually has a decent shot here. At least compared to some of the other picks on the board.
Yeah, for sure. In the context of this match and the way things have been going, this is probably one of their best non-Rice picks remaining. So, I mean, like you said, it's definitely a good pick, and it keeps some of these Rice charts still left on the board for them to go into later on, especially if they can pick up a breakpoint between then and now.
Yeah.
With that being said, with it being simpler, it also plays into Silhoueska Elze's hands a little bit, because being able to go back down in difficulty is a little bit easier if you are able to handle some of the harder content as well. That being said, overthinking some of these structures can be a thing, so it'll be interesting to see how it develops as we make our way through this introduction. The accuracy gap beginning to develop once again, 6/10 separating both of the players, despite both of them holding on to their FCs for the moment.
Yeah, I did say this was simple and ergonomic, but it is dense. That's where the difficulty comes from. And we're seeing a bit of a shaky start from Delta here. Some of the releases on the shorter LNs and a miss there on the LN staircase. Not looking great.
Yeah, it does a pretty significant chunk of damage, especially because of the fact that it was after that 400 combo cap, so some free time for Silhoueska Elze to really stretch out this advantage that she has built up. It is now 15,000 points in her favor, with the back half of the chart still left to come, holding on to the FC for the moment. Also doing very well to build up some semblance of combo, now crossing over that 400 combo cap and about to reach that 99% mark once again, but it is still about 0.5% separating both the players. So despite their best efforts, it's going to be a bit of tough sledding ahead if they want to try and make some inroads in this lead. And still we continue on here. Last eighth of the chart left to go, and no breaks in sight for Silhoueska Elze as we continue on. One more transition to read through, but so far it's been pretty plain sailing. Delta now above that 1,000 combo mark. Did take a little bit of damage, fell from that 99% purge, not able to hold it, and Silhoueska Elze does take a little bit of damage, but the damage overall has been done, and it is now 4-1 in favor of Silhoueska Elze. Another breakpoint in the pocket.
Yeah, a pretty clean FC from Elze here. And it looks like they're going to launch right into Hybrid 2 here. The John Cena theme, gent cover. This totally makes sense as a pick for Elze. The coordination, she absolutely has an advantage on.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so weird that the background never loads.
I know, it keeps happening. There's just nothing there.
There's just nothing there. And it'll plague us for the rest of the round. But hopefully it doesn't plague the players as they make their way through the last hybrid of this pool.
Yeah.
We're going to make it through this introduction relatively unscathed. A couple of tents being traded back and forth between the two players, but it's going to start to even out before too long as the players settle in here. And it's going to be a matter of who blinks first, and it is going to be Delta finding the drop going into the second quarter here, and both players in that 98% range, but Silhoueska Elze is able to cross that 400 combo cap relatively unscathed and build up this advantage to about 5 digits in terms of score lead as she finds a trade in return here, and it immediately shrinks his lead back down.
Wow, Delta with a significant accuracy lead now. Both players take a hit on that section, but Delta is still remaining on top. Elze is catching up though, and she has retaken the score lead actually. There is one last chorus in this short song. Who's gonna come out on top?
That is the question we are all waiting to see the answer to. I think the combo that Silhoueska Elze was able to hang on to at the start of the chart is paying off in spades at the moment, accounting for this slender 1,000 point lead as they're both going to cross that 400 combo cap within a note of each other. They are within hundreds of a percent of each other. Any drops this late on will spell disaster, and Silhoueska Elze finds the drop towards the end of the chart here and not traded back by Delta. There is nothing left to play for on this map. Delta finds the first breakpoint against Silhoueska Elze to make it 4-2 here.
What a subversion of expectations. This is the second time where I've said, oh yeah, this is an easy win for this person. And I've just totally been proven wrong by a large margin. What is going on?
Yeah, I feel like expectations are meant to be subverted. And Delta going to go right back up into the Rice side of the pool. Going to be Rice 4 coming out here. And with the hybrid pool exhausted, all the LNs still left on the table except for LN4. There are still avenues for Silhoueska Elze, but the fact that Delta is able to kind of hold their own on some of these picks means that it might be tougher sledding than she might be expecting here.
Yeah. I think Edelweiss is a decent pick. I don't know where else I would have gone if I were in this position. I think I certainly one of the better picks on the board. What can I say? This and the T-Rex map, I think, are Delta's best chances at getting points on their own pick, and then they just have to scrap for another breakpoint on Emily's pick, and then we're gonna maybe be a tiebreaker. Who knows?
Oh man, back-to-back tiebreakers would be very exciting, but that is a conversation for later on in this match. And right now it is Silhoueska Elze holding on to the accuracy advantage to the tune of about 0.2% at the moment. Both the UR bars basically dead center for both players. A couple of stray 300s here and there for both of them as they continue to read on here. But it is actually Silhoueska Elze climbing. Delta staying relatively put, but that is a very loud miss from Silhoueska Elze on the transition. Gonna bring him back down to catchable range, and now Delta takes the lead here off the fact that they had crossed that 400 combo cap, and misses after that begin to do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, despite the miss, Elze is still at that accuracy difference where she can make it up. Even if Delta doesn't miss, it just is going to take a little bit of elbow grease. And now that she's over the 400 combo cap, it's all on Delta to maintain this lead just out of accuracy. Oh, but Elze misses again! Oh, but Delta trades back! On those shields! Oh my gosh!
So one misses on the LN. Silhoueska Elze needs to check her ring finger. That is the second time she has dropped on column 1 on this chart. It just feels like it's not responding sometimes. And as we continue on here, this lead is going to start to shrink as both players begin to make their approach to that 400 combo cap. The accuracy discrepancy is going to start playing a massive part in the last quarter of this chart. It is about 4/10 in favor of Silhoueska Elze at the moment, above that 99% mark. Delta needs to get back up over if they want to try and hang on to this very slender lead. It is hundreds of points separating both the players right now as we continue on. It's an eighth of the chart left to go. It's still all to play for, and as they both cross, Silhoueska Elze finds the drop towards the end here. It's still catchable. Delta needs to hang on, needs to keep it clean here. It can still switch in an instant if they find a drop here very late on. There's not enough time for Silhoueska Elze to make it above that 400 combo cap, but the last note comes here. Make sure you watch these releases. And they hang on. And Delta manages to take their point. That was heart and mouth moments for long durations of that chart. And they managed to squeak it out at the end.
Yeah, playing out of the accuracy deficit, that one extra miss by Elze, they had identical 200 counts, but Emily also had the ratio advantage. Oh my gosh. 3-4.
Yeah, but all three LN picks are still left on the table. I mean, I don't know why Delta's saying awe to the fact that there's the LN picks. They managed to squeak out one of the more LN coordination based hybrids in this pool.
Yeah,
There
I
might be a
totally think.
chance.
I
Like
totally think.
LN1.
Yeah, LN1, or I think Crush Alcohol is also a good pick for them if they have to go there. But is Emily gonna pick Rice 5? Oh, she is!
Cool. So maybe just banking on it being a bad run on Rice 4. She did have the advantage for, at least in terms of accuracy, for pretty long durations of that chart. If she can keep this run clean, it does basically eliminate any comfortable options for Delta moving forward here. So overall, the worst case scenario, you just hand back one of those breakpoints and you force your opponent to pick into your comfort. So I kind of like this pick when all is said and done.
That's the kind of sneaky, deceptive part of it. Delta's gonna have to pick LN, and even if she does lose that, she has the pick of the litter.
Yeah. Basically, it gets to decide how they want to approach the last couple of points here, but they need to secure those last couple of points as she finds the first break between the two of them. Delta not trading it back here, but it is very early on. But it is a very short chart, so the margin for error is a lot narrower. You don't have that much room for recovery, and Delta's going to be able to nurse about a 12,000 point lead right out of the gate here.
And a significant accuracy advantage in this first 400 combo, a whole percent even.
Yeah, this one might be one of those picks where it's like, under normal circumstances, she might not have gone into it, but because of the context of the remaining picks in this match, maybe just wanting to get it out of the way early before it gets used against her to potentially turn the tide of this match. And she's starting to climb back up in terms of accuracy, but she finds another drop here. Still not answered back from Delta. Able to hold on to the FC for the moment. Still the back half of the chart to go, but they find the drop on response on the transition. But it is the lightest part of the chart, so no real opportunity to cross that 400 combo cap before things start to pick up again. So not able to chip away at the lead as much as she possibly could have. But Delta finds another drop now.
Delta's lead is bleeding, but Elze trades it back. Delta's maintaining that 99. Elze is down at 98.6 and down by almost 20,000 points with an eighth of the chart left. Oh, and another miss from Elze. Things are not looking great for her, but like we said, this point doesn't matter all that much given what she did in her strategy of picking this.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more calculated picks. So far this round definitely has some ulterior motives to it. So Delta does pick up the point, makes it 4-4 now, but there are no more Rice picks remaining and the hybrid pool is gone. What do you go into in your opponent's strength?
Elze is pogging after losing that. Very interesting.
Yeah, her mind works in mysterious ways in match situations. Definitely one for the content. But
maybe she's just happy to be able to whip out the arsenal of LN.
It's like we get to play them on my terms. LN3. And
LN3,
you called it Crush Alcohol.
Crush Alcohol. This is kind of the most Rice-like long note. It's fast, it's got short LNs, and I think the coordination elements of it are short and quick enough that you don't really need to play them exactly right, like something like LN1 or LN3. So I think Elze's advantage is kind of minimized on this pick, as opposed to something like Psy.
Yeah, and she's gonna have to secure this breakpoint because there is a world in which Delta secures this and could very easily turn the tide. And we mentioned it during the last match, just kind of finagle their way to an unexpected victory on some of these charts because it's not guaranteed. You never want to count out the person that's alleged to be playing with the disadvantage here. You definitely need to pay the respect to everybody's capabilities, especially on a pool this hard. And as we get underway, Delta able to handle this introduction and keep it within 0.2% at the moment.
Yeah, like you were saying, if Delta wins this, they've clinched tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And so this is pretty critical for Elze. But she's doing great so far. A 99.6, but Delta right on her tail at 99.4.
Yeah, it's like you were saying, this one has enough broken up density sections to really not inundate you too much in terms of column usage. So you're able to kind of coordinate your releases a little bit easier as opposed to some of the other charts in the LN pool. But it is still a nightmare to read through sometimes, especially when you get into those transitions where you start to get those 3 to 4 no column LN structures to parse through. But right now it is still level pegging between the two players, holding on to their FCs at the moment. 210 still separating both of the players. It is anybody's game going into the back half here.
Yeah, the big challenge in this map is to be able to react fast enough to these fast LNs and not have the knee-jerk reaction of playing stuff like streams. Because you'll see these building up staircase densities, and oh my gosh, they're still holding on to their FCs through this hard part.
Oh my goodness, this is a game of cat and mouse. And at the moment, I do not know who is the cat and who is the mouse. Whoever blinks first is going to be on the losing side of this chart. I don't feel like trades are going to happen. We get into this very chord-heavy LN section, and things can go wrong. And it was the combo for Silhoueska. Still able to hold on to the lead for the moment. Delta does not trade it back. They're still behind by about 0.2%. But
another miss! Another! Oh my goodness! But they were really, really clean. 3 misses and only dropping like 0.1%. Still maintaining that accuracy advantage is huge for her. If Delta misses, she can totally claim it back in this hard part, but that time is closing. Oh, Delta does miss!
Delta finds the drop. We're going to be playing tug of war with this leaderboard. It is 1,700 points in favor of Silhoueska. Oh, she has built up the accuracy advantage once again. It is 2,000 points. Delta's not able to hold on. Last couple of notes. Oh. And Silhoueska Elze manages to hang on, takes the breakpoint. That was some work.
Oh my gosh. She has no idea that she could have lost it on that final miss.
That is ridiculous. And it goes to show, do not sleep on these players. They are capable of putting up ridiculous performances if you're not too careful. And LN1 is going to be the pick here.
Yeah. Emily absolutely has the advantage on LN1 and LN3. And I'm not sure which one would be better, because I think she just wins these.
Yeah, and I mean she has pulled the rug out from she has pulled the mask off. This was all calculated from basically Rice 5 was the final tell as to what she was planning, going for all the hybrids deliberately, pinching that side of the pool off, closing off some of these Rice picks, being able to pick up some of these breakpoints, also enabled that strategy to come out. But she is playing with fire in this situation. LN3 could have gone horribly wrong with that ending.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is a matter of if she can put pen to paper here on LN1. Delta really showing that they can hold their own on these LN charts against arguably one of the strongest LN players in this tournament. And Silhoueska finds the first drop here.
Accuracies are equal.
Yeah, she does not have the buffer she did during Crush Alcohol, so Delta gonna be able to take the lead outright from that early drop. It was inside the first quarter, but Delta does trade it back as we get into the more coordination-heavy sections, but they still managed to hold on to the lead for the moment by virtue of the fact that they were able to keep the accuracy so close. So Silhoueska is now crossing the 400 combo mark, and it's gonna be able to start chipping away at this lead. It's gonna turn over before too long here, but not if Delta has anything to say about it. They are still within 0.1%. It is hundreds of points going the way of the red side right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We are sitting on the edge of our seats, Mash. There is
There's
very little we want to say at the moment, lest we curse either of these players, but this has been a electrifying performance from both of them. A lot of risks being taken on both sides, some concessions needing to be made, some breakpoints handed over as well. There is half the chart still left to go. The accuracy gap is 0.2%. The score lead is 3,000 points in favor of Silhoueska Elze. Both players have stabilized. They're above that 400 combo cap very comfortably. Any drops this late on is going to swing this lead one way or the other in an instant. It is not over by any stretch of the imagination. Tiebreaker is still a possibility for Delta, but they need to hang on, and they find the slider break on the transition into the last quarter of the chart.
Yeah, their greatest merit though right now is holding on to that higher accuracy. The fact that they haven't dropped into like the mid 98s is really, really good for them. They can continue banking on a miss from Elze.
Yeah, but things start to settle down just a little bit here, able to read through these structures a little bit easier, and Delta finding another drop here. They were holding on for so long, putting up a valiant effort. Last sliver of chart left to read through. 15,000 points is the lead for Silhoueska Elze at the moment, but Delta finding another drop. That could very well be the final nail in the coffin for this match. It was so close to being completely turned on its head on LN3. But if you don't play with fire sometimes, if you don't buy a ticket, then you can't win the lottery. And Silhoueska Elze managing to pull it out by the skin of her teeth at times by a score of 6-4.
Yeah, through merit of skill and strategy, forcing Delta to play right into her hands at the last second. Really, really great match to watch. GG.
For sure. Definitely a good way to close out this tiny little block of 2 matches. We saw the tiebreaker last match. Weren't able to get it this time around, but that was, again, very, very heart-stopping, adrenaline-pumping action. And that will officially do it for us, at least for now, as we pull up the bracket real quick. You are correct. It was the winner of Nanon Bandusky versus Charlie's Mad Cut going to be going up against Silhoueska Elze. And Delta not out of it just yet, just going to be having to make the run in the losers bracket. Going to be facing off against the winner of Era Jungle, and it looks like Kyosu and Shabest.
Yeah, but that's about all we have left to say. Go check out the 4K World Cup Grand Finals. They're live right now. It is 1-1. Anything left to say? Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap this up quickly. Tune in at 8 UTC for the next match in MALT quarterfinals. Definitely do not want to miss it. But until then, we will catch you guys later.
See ya.